right, welcome back from that break. You're watching Daybreak on Trust TV. Time for us to take a look at some perspectives to some of the major stories on the front page of our newspapers this morning. So, begin with the prominent story this morning that's virtually on all the papers this morning that we have seen, and that's talking about the commissioner of the Dangote refinery. We started off earlier when we opened the show with a little banter on that. Now let's take a look at some of the things that Nigerians need to know about this refinery. Quite a lot of information available as far as the Dangote refinery is concerned, and is captured in some of the stories that we have before us this morning. I think a major one from among all the issues that have been raised about this refinery is the fact that it's going to save a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Nigeria foreign exchange. So if you think about the amount of money that usually goes out of the coffers of excess crude account that goes to the purchase of the refined product from outside the country,
subsidizing the
bringing
product,
it into the country, subsidizing it, and all that now has been eliminated thanks to Dangote. And also think about how much Nigeria, or I'll say Dangote, will make, not Nigeria, but indirectly Nigeria eventually, because the company is domiciled here in Nigeria, so eventually Nigeria is going to be benefiting from that. So
hugely.
Imagine how much is going to export and how much is going to generate in dollars back to the Nigerian economy.
And Ayuba, one part of it that really interests me is the fact that it's going to employ over 100,000 youths. If you look at the unemployment rate in Nigeria, and then the company comes in and is saying it's going to take in over 100,000 youths. When I was reading the story, Dangote said that already over 30,000 persons have been employed. So you can imagine what that is going to do for our economy.
And do you know that there are about 900 engineers that are right now being trained outside the country to come and man, or I would say manage.
And the good thing is that they are Nigerians.
They are Nigerians.
Yes. So
we are talking about boosting capacity of Nigerians, people having something to do. And you can imagine that these people who are going to be trained will eventually come and transfer all
the knowledge to other persons
back in the country. So
yes, and then ordinarily some firms will say, oh, let's bring in expatriates to handle this part of the job. But now in this case, we have Nigerians being taken out to get the requisite training so that they can come back and put it to use. And of course, they are also being empowered, And then look at the fact that, look at how much we're going to get every year. 7 trillion. That's a lot of money.
Dangote is going to get.
Yes. Well, it's coming into Nigeria's economy.
Let's not forget that. Because
into Nigeria's economy.
A lot of time we have these conversations and it looks like this is a Nigerian government project. This is not a Nigerian government project.
It's an individual project. Loans were taken and they have to be repaid. Even though the story said that 70% of the loan has been paid, but the remaining part has to be paid, right? So it's a business at the end of the day.
Yes. Yeah. And it goes to also show the patriotism really of Aliko Dangote to invest in a country that even government have struggled with the issue of having a functional refinery for over decades. He has been able to do that.
Will.
Exactly.
You know what they always say?
Exactly.
The will. Where there's a will, there's a way. That's what they always say, right?
So, exactly. He's been able to build this in 10 years. And that's a major one for him. It's a major one for the country and all that. Other facts that we need to know as far as this refinery is concerned is that it is the world's largest single train 650,000 barrels per day petroleum refinery with 900 KTPA for the Proline plant. So this is one of the major things to note about this refinery, and
the fact that it's going to be able to cater to all our needs and still export.
Yes, and not just fuel now. We're also talking about Jet A1. We're also talking about kerosene. We're also talking about diesel.
Even power.
Yes. So these are some of the products that we are going to be seeing from this refinery that is now has been commissioned. So it's a major one. Other products that we've been now think about it. Last year we had the aviation sector suffer a great deal as a result of the high cost of the
Jet A1.
Jet A1. We saw air tickets, skyrocket to as
They
much
haven't dropped
as,
you can
imagine,
since,
for as much as 100,000
yeah.
naira in the country. So if we have this, hopefully we are going to see a reduction in the cost or the price of flight tickets and the rest of them. And so some of the crisis as well as to issue of scarcity and the rest of them, we are hoping that all that will be eliminated as a result of this.
And I also saw the president calling on other businessmen to emulate Dangote. So let's look at it this way, Ayuba. Imagine if other businessmen take up issues in other sector and then build this kind of facility, maybe not as big as this, but imagine how much that would do for Nigeria.
A lot. We need more of more Dangotes.
More Dangotes in the system.
In the system.
Yeah.
And it's also one of of a company like this, because if in the sector he happens to be the only person operating a refinery in the entire country, and not just the country, but I would say to an extent in the region. In the sub-Saharan region, then it brings the issue of monopoly. And people are saying that this is a man that is now going to become very powerful.
This issue of monopoly, there was a time it came up at a function, and I remember Alhaji Dangote responding. He said that people always accuse him of monopolizing the market and all of that. And then he gave an analogy. He said, imagine if you're looking for something, you're at home. No, let's say you want to play a match, but you're still at home or you're on your way. And then somebody is on the reserve bench. If they need to get someone into the field, who would they get? Is it somebody on the reserve bench or somebody who is still at home or still on his way?
Exactly. So,
so it also shows how prepared you are and how much of it you want, and
And take it or leave it. I mean, this is where we are. This is where we found ourselves. He happens to be the person who is able to do this. I mean, this is a project that, like I said earlier, even government have struggled to do, and he's now able to do this. Even he himself, when he was asked whether he could do this again or do this in other places, he said no, because it just shows you how magnificent.
And he said something also
from the onset. Don't forget that $90 billion was actually, $9 billion was earmarked for this project.
Yeah.
But eventually,
inflation,
it costed almost $20 billion.
Yes, almost double the amount at the initial stage.
So that's not that's not.
But this is when I think about it, this is a very big dream, because listen to Dangote yesterday. He said that he initially wanted to acquire one of the refineries and rehabilitate, but that he was unable to acquire that, and that was why he went ahead and now started this project. So you can imagine.
All right. Well, let's get some more perspectives. We now have a guest reviewer in the studio. He's Dr. Larry Oluwaniyi. He's a public affairs analyst who will be talking to us about some of the stories on the front pages of our newspapers this morning. Dr. Larry, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Well, just before you came in, we are talking about the story that is on the lips of virtually everyone in the country right now, talking about the Dangote refinery. So much ado about the Dangote refinery, isn't it? Rightfully
yes.
so.
Yes. Yes, it's a huge testimony for us as far as we are Nigerians, and it's a landmark project for this administration. But the areas people don't seem to understand is that it's just called a Dangote refinery, but there are a lot of partnership that goes into it. I'm aware there is federal government partnership with it. Federal government have some percentage in it.
Is it the federal government or the NNPC?
I think it's collaboration with federal government. Federal NNPC cannot just do something, since NNPC is still operated under the federal government. They are not yet fully privatized NNPC.
It's now a limited liability.
No, but there is not yet fully. They have not yet fully privatized it. They are just giving us, but federal government have a stake in it, because it's a huge project. It's a huge project, and they have to have interest, because if you give only one person an outright autonomy, there can be kind of there must be a check and balancing. Along the line, you can just see that somebody that you give full autonomy can be determine what the market will look like for you. But federal government use the initiative to come in partnership with the Dangote refinery so that they can also have a stake and they can also control the market as long as the refinery goes on in Nigeria. So it's a good thing.
But this may not necessarily translate into having a cheaper cost of fuel, does it?
Because from the information I gather, I learned that they're going to be supplying the crude oil in naira, not in dollar, as the case may be before. But that is part of the reason why they look at the whole arrangement, so that Nigeria can be getting the fuel not as cheap as we may expected, but at least some leverages will be given to us. That's the truth. Some leverages will be there. That is why federal government also put themselves into it. You can't just expect somebody to go and borrow a huge amount of money somewhere, and you expect him to be dashing you or to be giving you leverages when you don't give him 100% support. And you can listen to him as well, that he gave a kudos to the President Muhammadu Buhari because of the support and everything he got from them.
All right. Okay, well, as far as the sub-region is concerned, this is a major one. How do you think that this will help integrate intra-Africa relationship or trade? Yeah,
it's a good news for the whole, especially the West African countries and even Africa at large. And we also don't forget that we're also expecting another refinery in Akwa Ibom by the Boa Group of company. So that one is also in process as well. So we expect more, and it's a good thing for us, and it's also going to boost our own economy, because when we also have another country releasing their crude oil to be refined in Nigeria, is a huge plus to our own economy. So that is why you can see a lot of about 6 presidents of other African countries, they are there to also see how they can be of partnership and do business relationship with us and with the Dangote as large. So I believe it's a good thing. That's just the truth. But people may not see the impact at the beginning, because the huge of unemployment rate, I think, is talking about 100,000.
Exactly. That was what I was going to talk to you about that. I mean, this company is going to take in at least 100,000 youths. Yeah. And you know, the government has always talked about the fact that government alone cannot provide jobs. Now, this is one company taking in this. To what extent will more companies, more individuals coming up with companies help to mop up the unemployed population?
As long as federal government create an enabling environment. Yeah, I've spent the time with that number. If your federal government does not create an enabling environment for foreign investors to come in,
this is a local investor who has
either
done
local
this.
Or as it may be, because it's so enabling environment in Lagos State. That's the truth. And because we have a form of arrangement of Lekki Free Zone, the tax aspect of it is radically reduced. And what about political stability? Those are things that people don't understand, that it do take place, because you're talking about unemployment, we want youth. But if Lagos State does not have a political stability, like I promise you, Dangote will not start this refinery there. That's the truth. Yes, so that you will look at it. What that about? Don't forget, it said it started the process during Governor Fashola regime, Governor Ambody, up to Governor Sanwo-Olu. That means almost 12, 13 years.
It's about 10 years.
Now, if you now have a situation whereby after Governor Fashola, another governor comes in and they begin to tell you all manner of stories. We have to start this process again. We have to review this and begin to frustrate your investment. How are you going to feel? Those are things that people don't know when we're talking about political stability and let it go.
Talking about stability, from what you're saying, then the security of other parts of the country will play a huge role in this kind of investments, right?
It's part of it, yeah, it's part of it, because we need more investment, not only in the southern part. We want a situation whereby you can just put your refinery in Kaduna, in Kano, in Bauchi. They have a huge mass of land there.
And we have Kolmani oil coming up in Bauchi.
Exactly, but you will be surprised that people will be afraid to invest in those areas in terms of refinery, because this is a huge project. They don't want a situation whereby tomorrow you start a religion war. They don't want a situation whereby you start tomorrow banditry again, or any other sort of. So every investors do their critical analysis before they can invest their money. Talk is cheap.
Okay.
Are you getting it? Talk is cheap, but a lot of work and intelligent capacity goes into it is too much. So they will look at every aspect of our community: security, enabling environment, judicial system. Am I going to get justice? If I have issue with your people in your country.
Okay.
So that is a lot of things.
All right. I'd like for us to talk about other stories as well. I would like your take on the judgment of the court denying the live coverage of the presidential tribunal, presidential petition tribunal, which is currently holding, dealing with the, all the suits and all the petitions that have been put forward by candidates in that 2023 presidential election. What's your take on that?
Yeah, we as far as we see it is going on smoothly, and I believe you want to ask me what is my take on the ruling that took place, I think yesterday or a day before yesterday, on live streaming applications from the court. And I believe that the appeal court did not granted the prayers, and to me it's a good direction, because we must be sincere to ourselves. We are not yet mature to be expecting our judiciary or court process to subject to live streaming. We are in the era of social media whereby any little thing you say, they twist it to 10 things. So before you know it, you just frustrate the process. So I believe so far so good. The indoor arrangement they are doing is okay. Nigeria just want justice, but not by hook or by means. They must do your way before you get justice. No.
All right, there's this story on the Vanguard newspaper. It says Naira redesign, massive cash hoarding resumes. Does it mean that now that the Naira redesign policy has kind of been suspended, we're going to go back to the era of people hoarding lots of money in their homes?
No, that is this big challenge that we have in our country. A lot of people just have and I believe, let me don't say a lot of people, I won't say all of them are corrupt people, because there are some business people as well, I know, in the northern part of Nigeria, that they just like having cash and do their transaction in cash than to go to bank to be writing check or to be queuing or to be doing everything. They just prefer it that way. It's kind of monologue things that they have used to. So I think that we need to reorientate this set of people, apart from people that allegedly stealing our money. Yes, apart from those ones, which they are just being greedy to themselves. But there are some genuine ones that they are into business, that they just have that thinking that, oh, let me keep my money, it's safe at home. When I want to do my business, I don't need to go and be queuing 5 hours telling me stories. Because at times you won't be surprised. You want to get a huge amount of money from your bank, they can tell you story. I'm telling you the truth.
You know, one of the reasons that this policy came in the first place was to mop up the cash that was in circulation.
Yeah.
So why is it that now, even though the cash is available, why won't people just go and take what they need instead of just mopping it up and putting it in their homes under their beds?
Their mindset is what they have used to for many years. It's what they saw their grandfather doing. Yeah, it's what they saw their family, what they saw them doing. They believe that is the way they can operate easily for them.
But times have changed.
Time has changed, so we need to orientate them, and we need to talk to our institution, our banking institution. And I can't just blame them. Let me tell you the truth. There is a certain amount of money you will request from your bank this morning that they will keep posting. I won't deceive you. You just give a check of some amount of money to give it to either your partners or some transaction. The bank manager keep posting, don't worry, we'll get it from our headquarters, we'll get this. And they may feel like, no, you are delaying my business. So, and most of these guys, they don't even know how to operate internet app. So they are old people, they are in money. That's the truth, they have the money.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lanre Oluwani. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time to continue with this segment. We'll have to call it off at this point. We look forward to having you again on Daybreak. Yeah.